is for the people who are backing up Iran right now, mostly Democrats, that they are supporting Iran right now. So I want to go over a few rules and laws in Iran about women. Basically, it's everything against what Democrats believe. So if you're a woman in Iran, they see you as a half a brain. So you don't have the full brain. So let's say if you witnessed a murder and you're a woman and you want to go to the court and say that you witnessed a murder, there should be 3 women. So your witness, like your words, will be approved in the court. Versus if it's a man and it witnessed a murder, only 1 man is enough. Why? Because they say women have half a brain. If you're a woman in Iran, you have kids and you want to divorce, you only can have that child until 7 years. After 7 years, your child is for your husband, and he can come and take the child away from you, and you might never ever see your child again. Or if he doesn't want to, he can leave this child with you.
None of these people on the left, they cover for themselves by saying, we don't hate America. We are trying to improve America for everybody. We're a gigantic melting pot. There's nobody native to America. They are distorting the entire concept of what it means to be an American. They want people to think that that's why they don't want any borders. Anybody who gets here is an American. Because you see, Americanship or American citizenship, the concept of being an American is not related to being an American at all. It's related to residency. If you're here, you're an American. You can be a communist American, you can be a totalitarian socialist American. That's not what America is. America's not socialist. America's not communist. America's not totalitarian. America is entirely exceptional to every other system of government that there has ever been devised by human beings. They're trying to tear that down. And they call that perfecting the country. They call that correcting America's mistakes. They hide behind slavery, women not being able to vote, as though they're still happening. As though since they existed once, that's what America really is. America hasn't changed. America's still a country for white supremacists and white racists. It's a crock. It's offensive. And people have had their fill of it. So they come along and they say, America needs to be improved. America needs to be perfected. What they're trying to do is water down the definition of an American. These people are not interested in assimilating. They're not interested in learning what the American culture is. In other words, they're not really curious to find out why they want to be here. They just want to come here, take advantage of what they think the economic opportunities are. But their real problem is that they have a problem with America because the American people are too free. The American people have too much liberty and too much say-so over their own lives. And if you come here and think that's a problem, there's no way you can be an American. If you think that the problem in America is too much freedom, too much liberty, not a big enough government, then you're not an American. You're nowhere close to being an American. But they want to be able to say you're an American simply if you're here. Blow up the whole concept of citizenship. Blow up what it means to be an American and replace it with geography. If you're in America, you're an American. And the left is on this tear to bring this change off, to pull this change off. It's really insidious, if you ask me. You go back to the earlier days of legal immigration. People came here wanting to become Americans. They came here and they assimilated. They held on to their original nationality, of course, lived in the same neighborhoods, but they wanted to become Americans. They wanted to know what that meant because they wanted to be part of it. They were fleeing oppression. They were fleeing poverty and sickness. They were fleeing tyranny. They wanted the exact opposite. The people we're talking about here who claim to want to fix America's imperfections are essentially trying to implement the same things earlier immigrants fled, under the premise that America is flawed by the very virtue of its founding. It's what's been going on for the last 50 years. Some of it very subtly, very quietly in classrooms where indoctrination takes place, some of it out in the open, but it's never been as out in the open as it is now.
What's happening, folks? Hey, look, what is it, Wednesday? I was trying to figure out what I wanted to make my next video about, and I finally figured it out. It was there all along, because what are we celebrating this weekend or this week? Well, I guess you could call it a weekend event, is our independence, the 4th of July. And I figured there was no one better to bring in on it, I guess, is the great, the legend, the the golden EIB patriot, Rush Limbaugh, the great Rush. Oh my gosh, Rush Limbaugh, um, who unfortunately passed a few years ago from cancer, but he left us with so much, a whole lot. A lot of the things that are going on today, he hit the nail on the head decades ago, even up to his passing. And just the little side note here, um, he's the reason why I go by Rush to Truth. Because anytime I would hear some breaking news, some follow-up news, something going on with this bill, something going on with this bill and this politician and that and all of this back and forth, I always look forward to listening to Rush Limbaugh. He was on radio for 3 hours. And I knew that whatever just happened, there was a overall chance that he was going to talk about it on his show. He had 3 hours, folks. 3 hours, the longest 3 hours, okay? And liberals hated him. But if you never knew of Rush Limbaugh, I strongly encourage you to go and find any audio, any video of him talking. Liberals hated him. I mean, immensely. They were just like, he was living rent free in their heads, folks. Okay. So I honestly, I called him, he was like, he was a true icon. And he taught us a lot. And a lot of people who you hear conservative wise, who are on talk radio today or who are on YouTube and, he paved the way for a lot of them, a lot of us, right? I know my channel is not that big, but I still reach a few folks. And I don't think I can be as great as he is. I try. I don't get it right all the time. I mean, of course, neither did he, but he put a lot of things into perspective. And there are things that are going on today that Rush Limbaugh touched base on decades ago. And it is down to the T. You just saw or you just heard in that last video, you would have thought that he was talking, that was just from today or yesterday or within the, more recent. No, that was years ago. And look at where we are now. Protests in the streets, declaring Trump is a fascist. You have Antifa out there. You have paid protesters out here. You even saw, even the first video, the lady talking about how horrible it is as an Iranian woman living in Iran, and how they are just severely mistreated. It's horrible. She had a lot more to say, but because it's YouTube, I had to cut it short. She has a part 2 out there, but her video has gone viral. And everything that she says, you have the left out there siding with Iran, but apparently they are against what Iran is doing. Just doesn't make sense, right? So she laid it out. And of course, there are others out there who are speaking out against it. But you heard what that country would, with their laws, they don't have the freedoms that we here in America have. And we as women, especially, we can drive, we can work, we can travel. We don't have to ask, a man for permission to do so. We can live as independent as we want. Okay? But they don't have those freedoms. Yet you have these protesters out in the streets, and it's like they have it's crazy, right? They have the freedoms to be out in the streets and protesting a government that's given them the freedoms to be able to go and protest, but they're protesting for a country/government that will otherwise silence them. And much worse, right? Imprisonment and torture and whatever, stuff like that is evil. Okay? You can be a homosexual here in America and you can live your life, right? You can, they even allow you to adopt now. They even allow gay parents to adopt now. Not that I agree with it, but hey, they have that right here in America. But in other nations and other countries, if you're gay, you best keep that to yourself, or you're going to find out and you won't like it. So it's crazy. And of course, again, a lot of them are paid. That has come out. A lot of them have taken to TikTok and exposed how they're being paid to go out there and protest. And then you have New York's current candidate. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but excuse me, he's openly advocating for socialism, communism, whichever. It's horrible, right? Free this, free that. Look at these countries. They're trying to say that true communism, hasn't been tried yet. That's a lie. There are tons and tons of historical data, even to this day. Cuba, okay? Look at China. All of those communist countries, socialist countries, it doesn't work, folks, okay? It does not work. That's why you have so many people trying to flood into America. That's why they come here illegally. Some of them, no, they're not all up to no good, but a lot of them are. And you guys are out here. I never thought that I would see this many people out here advocating for evil the way that they are advocating for them now. And a lot of things that Trump's doing, this is how you can tell that you are being played. And just in case you're sleeping on this, right? A lot of things that Trump's talking about doing, has done, at some point in time before he came into the presidency, Democrats were discussing it. Prime example, this alligator Alcatraz that's being placed in Florida, okay, to house prisoners. They're out here trying to play on your emotions about it being, black and brown people. How can they tell you apart? They're trying to fearmonger you. You know you're an American. They're not beating down doors left and right. They know who's not supposed to be here. You guys really truly think that they're doing that? Why is it, if you really felt that way, why do you still get up and go to work every day? Why do you go out and have fun and hang out with your friends and excuse me, and travel and all of that? If you truly believe that, why aren't you trying to hunker down and hide? If that's what you truly felt. A lot of these protesters are out here and they're advocating for something that will turn around and bite them down the road. Is asinine, really. And there's no other country on this earth that has the freedoms, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence like we do. So before I get too long-winded, I'm trying to make this video as short as possible because, of course, but I wanted to put it out there because it's the 4th of July and it's not about the barbecues. It's not about the fireworks. That comes along into it because traditionally that's what happened in 1777, because it was a celebration, and then later on down the road it was adopted as a national holiday, and here we are today, right? But I wanted to give you some quick information. And it's crazy also, I want to point this out too. Those who are out here protesting, they're wanting the same things that are already going on in certain countries. Again, we'll put it out there, Iran, because it's in the video, right? Why haven't they left? Why haven't they packed their bags and moved to Iran? They're advocating for Iran. Why don't you leave? If you don't like America and you're out here protesting, what is it? Not just the president, but the economy, the healthcare. We'll say the healthcare, okay? You're out here protesting the healthcare. You're wanting healthcare like Canada. Hey, go to Canada. Go to Canada. Is the healthcare system in America the greatest? No, there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. But you're wanting this free healthcare. Go to these countries where you have free healthcare and see how long it takes for you to be seen. That's why you have a lot of Canadians who have dual citizenship traveling to the US. There's always room for improvement, folks, just like you have room for improvement in your personal lives, okay? But before I keep going and rambling, because I can go about this all day, but look, we celebrate the 4th of July as a reminder of the tyranny that we escaped. Our founding fathers, okay? 1776, July 4th, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence. That serves as a bold statement, all right, that the American colonies were no longer under the rule of the British Crown. They didn't want a monarchy. They wanted to have a voice, right? They wanted the people to be over the government. They wanted the people to be bigger than the government. But right now, the government is too big. Government is too big. It needs to downsize. That's what the whole purpose of Doge was. And people were fighting back against that. But let's continue. It's self-government, okay? Thomas Jefferson, here's a quote from him. "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal." This wasn't just a rebellion, you guys. It was a declaration of unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We as conservatives, patriotic Americans, we truly believe that the U.S., there's no other country like it. We believe that we are the best. Who doesn't, right? Of course, there's some bias there, but based off of our history, you can't blame us. And it has nothing to do with the size of our nation, how much money we have, or anything like that. But it's because it was founded upon Judeo biblical principles, Judeo-Christian principles. Okay, even not, and let's get this straight. Not everyone who was a part of the Declaration of Independence, not everyone believed in God. Not everyone was a Christian, but they could not argue with the solid foundation that Christianity held. That's why it's intertwined with our Constitution. And they believed that God gave us the rights that that we have God-given rights from birth. Who trumps God? A lot of them try to. But God, they recognize God as a superiority. No one's more superior than him. He's given us rights. So with that, God's rights super exceed government's rights, right? So the government that we have today is not the best by no means, but it's better than what you see in a lot of countries, communist, socialist, monarch, type governments and stuff like that. But recognize that God-given rights, and so therefore government should be limited. We should not have a huge government. That causes problems. Anything government touches, you can believe it's going to be messed up. But here's some more from Rush Limbaugh. Again, one of the greatest conservative voices out there. And he often reminded us that freedom must be defended. One of the reasons why so many people join the military has nothing to do with getting free college tuition and whatever benefits from that. Is because they wanted to continue to defend this great nation. The 4th of July, this is from Rush Limbaugh, is not about government. It's about people, individual people declaring their independence from tyranny. Another quote, our nation was founded on a divine idea of liberty, and it's up to us to protect it. Freedom isn't inherited. It must be taught, lived, and defended. So a lot of these leftist, socialist mindset people who are out here with their rainbow colored hair and tipping the scales and bad hygiene selves, they were not taught. They were not taught. They were brainwashed. And we can turn that around. It's, and I believe a lot of it has turned around, especially with this past election with Donald Trump. And then, of course, like right now, you have that, what is it? In New York, their election in New York. The socialist up there. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's openly admitted that he's a socialist. He's talking about government-funded grocery stores. Remember that, folks. So that means the government can tell you what you can and cannot have. How is that freedom? If it's government sponsored, right? Right now, the stores aren't government sponsored. Yes, they're owned by the wealthy, but hey, they're also providing you with the stuff that you want. You can go on Amazon, you can go to Walmart, you can go whomever, Publix, whichever, right? But if it's government funded, you're not going to have, and you continue to let government grow, you're going to lose more and more. And it's about patriotism, not about politics. A lot of people like to throw politics in there, but it's more so patriotism. Me personally, again, it's not about the cookouts, the fireworks. It's about honoring what our founders did, the sacrifices they made. The Constitution was created to put a restraint on tyranny. The founding fathers today, if they were alive today, if they could see what was going on today, right, they would be shocked as to why. Because I believe our government has gone rogue in a lot of aspects, local and federal. Because we have the Constitution, and a lot of them choose to divert away from it intentionally. And then they go and misquote it. And then they want to twist it and stuff like that, just like they do with the Bible. And I truly believe that as America, that we could do a whole lot better with knowing our American history and being true patriots. No other country allows you to, and I believe this should be dealt with, banned, allows you the rights that we have here in America. In America, you can drive around, even in your car, even if you're from Puerto Rican, Guatemalan descent, Jamaican descent, whatever, right? You're kind of close to your roots. You want to, pull it in type thing, and you want to acknowledge it. I see all of those flags on people's rearview mirrors. In America now, they're Americans, but you got another country's flag. You're not representing an American flag. Same thing with Ukraine and Russia. With that whole Russian-Ukrainian war breaking out, you had more Americans displaying the Ukrainian flag than our own American flag. But try that in another country. You'll find out. Heavy fines, jail time, you'll find out. Here in America, you can be whatever sexuality you want to be. Change your gender 50 million times. Come out of the closet as many times as you want. Make it a revolving door. But try that in Iran, the same country that these liberals are out here advocating for, siding with. But I'm also going to point this out. A lot of people who are out there, like they're protesting for what other countries have and they want those things here, they never leave. They stay here in the US. Why? Why don't you just go? You have the freedom to go. In certain countries like China, they don't have just the freedoms to just leave. They got to go through some stuff before they can even leave the country. In Iran, you saw or heard what the lady said. If a woman wants to travel, she has to ask a man for approval, either be her husband, her father, or her brother, if the father's not around. And I had to cut the video short, but you can go out there and check it because of YouTube again. But she depicts some very gruesome stuff that Iranian women deal with. But that stuff doesn't float here in the US. The stuff that they deal with in Iran, they don't get any help on it. But here in the US, you can take that person to court. You can defend yourself. You can't do that in Iran. Again, you got the crazy blue-haired libs out there advocating for that mess. But I'm going to just cut it short right here, folks. I went longer than I wanted to, but I just felt like I had to. And this is something, again, that I'm passionate about. I'm a patriotic person. I am. And I'm beyond excited to have Trump back in office because there has been no, and especially in our lifetime, such a patriotic president. When he celebrated the Army's birthday, that was, for me, that was refreshing to see. I got chills. Yes, I loved seeing that. Liberals wanted to break it down, make it seem like it was a power move of sorts, like a dictator type stuff. Other countries do it, but they don't say anything about them doing it. But hey, folks, I'm going to leave it here. I appreciate you checking in. I probably didn't say it before, but again, please comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, receive notifications for when I do drop a new video. Check me out on Instagram. I post a lot more stuff on that. And stay blessed, you guys. Be thankful that you live in America. You could have ended up in a much worse country. You are blessed. Don't believe these liberals out here that are trying to twist it and play on your emotions. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't fall for it. That's the devil playing on y'all. And sometimes y'all just let them have a playground with y'all stuff. But anyway, y'all enjoy the 4th. Stay prayed up. God bless. Check you all on the next one.